Everyone, how's it going? We're here at the NX show. I've got Leo on the call. Leo, how you doing, sir?
It's all good. It's all good. Yeah.
Sweet. Well, hey, so while we're waiting for some more people to show up here, I see Ben. Ben's already waving. Nice to see you, Ben. Ben actually, Ben just came out with his own article recently. It's kind of related. So, SSR with Angular using NX, I believe. Let me see if I can find that link. But
Yes.
in the meantime, Leo, I noticed just looking at your Twitter while I was prepping for this. So you're an NBA fan, yeah?
Yeah. Yeah.
Who's
Yeah.
your team?
It's the Lakers right now. And for quite, I've been
It's a
following
tough
LeBron
year,
James.
sir. It's a tough
Yeah,
year for you.
it's whatever LeBron James goes. I actually follow that team. So yeah.
Okay. Okay. Well, how are you feeling about this year? It's
Oh,
you're
it's
you're
awful.
you're still in the playoff race, right? Like because they expanded it to
Yeah.
10 teams.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. It's in they are in the playing positions yet, but still. But yeah, it's not looking good. They're
yeah.
not playing really great or anything.
Yeah,
Um,
looking at the roster, it should be going a lot better.
Oh,
But
definitely, definitely. Yeah. But
yeah,
yeah, I guess it's not working well.
yeah. I'm a Bulls fan, so we had a very
Nice.
encouraging start of the year, or very promising start of the year, and then we had some injuries. I think we're still doing well in the standings, but I've kind of given
Yep.
up just because of all the injuries we've had.
Yeah,
So
I think they were third or fourth last time I checked on the East Conference. So
yeah, yeah. Well, I don't. I'm surprised we stuck up there as long as we did, but we'll see if we get everyone back and healthy in time for playoffs. I'll be excited.
yeah,
Um,
definitely.
I just went and shared. So this is Ben's article on his server side rendering with Angular out just today. I think just a few hours ago. I'm seeing B Man in the chat. B Man, nice to see you, sir. Hope everything's going well for you. Uh, B Man's been on the show before, working in crypto. I think still now, but yeah, it's kind of cool to see all the different places this stuff reaches. So
Yeah, nice.
cool. All right, okay, Leo. If you had to put together a team of your all-time top five NBA players,
Oh,
5 people, who would it be?
don't do that.
We'll just
uh,
do this for a few more minutes, and then we'll jump
I
into
guess.
Astro.
Yeah, um, I will have definitely Michael Jordan, of course, LeBron James.
Hmm.
Then I guess Will Chamberlain's. Then for the point guard, probably Mike Johnson. I'll go with him.
That's a good choice.
And I'm missing someone, probably
It sounds like we're missing a power
power.
forward after
Yeah,
that.
power forward. Probably Tim Duncan.
Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah. That Wilt Chamberlain in particular, I thought was like extremely interesting. Like in addition to
yeah.
being like 7 feet tall, apparently he would work out with like Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think they were in a movie together. Even.
Oh, nice.
I'm trying to remember. I think it was like Conan the Barbarian they were in together. Um, but yeah, he's just like a very very interesting individual on top of it all else. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. He's a good character. That's for sure. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. I think my team, we have two people that match up. Michael Jordan and LeBron. Those are like the givens, right? But then
Yeah.
I think I don't go for a point guard. I think I put Scottie Pippen on and say we got three
Well, yeah.
three
I
like
mean,
athletic guardish people. They could guard anyone. That's
Yeah, I
the
mean, LeBron James can play point guard. Like he
yeah.
played point guard for the Lakers couple of seasons ago.
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. I could see that. I could see that for sure. He's got good court awareness for sure. Probably one of the best in the game. And then
yeah,
I think for the back court or the front court, we go with Shaquille O'Neal and Hakeem Olajuwon. Just make Hakeem play the four.
good picks. Yeah,
But
yeah,
I'm a '90s kid, so my team is clearly biased. But anyways, that's enough banter. Let's jump into the cool stuff. I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen here. Let's do that. So we are talking today about Leo's. So this is Leo's personal site. Let me throw the link here in the chat right now, so you can check it out if you want. This is kind of meta. This is his blog about his blog.
Yeah.
So yeah. So there it is. And you can check it out if you want. It's also on our official Narwhal blog as well. But so Leo, you wanted to build your personal site with some new technologies you weren't necessarily super familiar with. You're still using NX, which is like kind of a given. I think anything with JavaScript, I'm reaching for NX by default, for sure.
Yeah.
And that's not just from being at Narwhal. I think I'd still be doing that regardless of where I'm at. But then, so you're using Astro and Tailwind. So I'm familiar with Tailwind. I haven't used Astro before. My sense of things is this is like sort of like an SSR kind of solution, kind of like Jekyll or something like that.
Yeah. They are SSG and SSR. They are currently working and have experimental support for SSR. But yeah,
cool. So so just to kind of fill out for everyone who's not familiar with Astro. So I watched like the Fireship IO like 100 seconds Astro in 100 seconds. It sounds like the goal of it is to kind of so you write JavaScript, but in terms of what gets sent over to the browser, is it all HTML? Is it mainly HTML? How does that work?
Yeah, by default, it's all HTML and CSS. So you get no JavaScript on the browser, unless you have, script tags or you choose, because they have a directive for partial hydration, and then you can choose portions of your page, let's say, or components, where you can say, I want to hydrate this when the client loads or when it's visible, and so on.
Gotcha. Very cool. So I guess like one of the things that often comes up when we hit these kinds of frameworks is also like, I want to use NX with this, but there's sort of some stuff that's done by convention for Astro, I believe, right? Where you have like the source/pages directory, which it's not always clear how that works with in an NX workspace. So it looks like another part of this is you built the NX extension/Astro plugin.
That's right. Yeah.
So this way, if someone out there is interested, they hear our talk about Astro and they're interested in using it with NX, you've kind of got the plugin already in place here, so people can take advantage of some of the work you've already put in. What's all in this plugin? Is it generators? Is it a builder?
So yeah, I have some generators there mainly for application libraries and components. I also have executors for the main tasks that Astro does, the Astro CLI, which is build a dev server, a static server like for development, which is a preview kind of, or they call it preview, the command on the Astro CLI. And then there is another one for running diagnostic checks with TypeScript, which is called check as well. So I have executors for those. And the other cool thing, which is I guess is the more useful one in the plugin, will be there is a plugin for the project graph, for the NX project graph. So that way, you're able to work as if it's an NX core plugin, let's say, in the sense of everything is integrated. Because the thing is, Astro, has a specific syntax and specific extensions for the files, which is the .astro files.
Right.
And by default, the NX inference for the project graph, it wouldn't pick those, right? It wouldn't scan those files. So that's why I have that plugin, which actually parses the file using one of the Astro packages. And based on that, it runs the task that we need for actually looking for what are the dependencies for from each file to which projects.
Yeah, let me pull up, because I think I saw some in your blog here. Look up just an example of a Astro component. I think this is one, right? Let me make that a little smaller so I'll fix it on the screen. So it's what's the name of this syntax here with the three dashes?
So that will be a from matter script.
Okay.
Yeah, it's something that is, I think, is more commonly used on Markdown files. But yeah, Astro has this syntax, or where in their own file, like the .astro file, you will have a from matter script at the top, and this is JavaScript that runs on the server. So this is JavaScript that doesn't get sent to the client.
Yeah. Well, it looks like this is TypeScript, right?
So, yeah, actually, yeah, it could be JavaScript or TypeScript. Yeah, and this is actually TypeScript. I'm using TypeScript here.
Yeah.
And then below that you will have regular HTML, and you could have scripts, which if you have scripts, those do get sent to the browser, of course, and will get executed. And you could also have styles.
Yeah. So if there were a script tag in here, the idea is it would just be shipped as part of the HTML. It wouldn't be a separate JavaScript file.
Yes.
Okay. But this up here, this block of JavaScript, this is JavaScript that's not actually sent over to the browser. This is run on the Astro server. And how does that workflow work? Is the idea that at build time this all gets run to create the static HTML, and then that's crashed on the static site?
Yeah, that's right. At build time, this will execute that JavaScript or TypeScript. It will, you see all the interpolations down there.
Right.
It will actually replace all those stuff. And it gets stripped from the page. So your HTML will be clean HTML with regular styles or scripts if you have any, and just HTML.
Very cool. So let me ask you about these props. So it looks like what we're looking at here, this looks like a component. Where
this is a page. This one particularly is a page. Yeah.
Gotcha. So the idea for this is you have three components, and these are Astro components. Is that the idea?
Yeah, in this case, those are components that are coming from a library that I created. Yes.
Yeah. Gotcha. So we have the head component. We can see it here. The footer component here, and then the header, which is right here. So and then we see some props here. I imagine if it's a page, how do the props kind of propagate into this component? How does that kind of hook up?
Because no, wait, this is not a page. Let me go. Sorry, this is a layout, I think. If you go up, this is a layout. Sorry, this is a layout. Yeah. So the layout, when you use it on the pages, you will pass props to it. Yeah. Sorry about that. Yeah,
so we're looking at a component. The properties come in. So these are like inputs. Similar to the head, kind of gets past the inputs this way. I imagine we'd see this at the same place whenever we were consuming this component, right? And then I think the other big piece was like the slots tag. So the idea is this like what's the right word for it? So
like ng content for Angular.
Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, like if you come from Angular, for example, this would be like similar to ng content to an extent, of course. Where you can have name slot as well. You can have these slots, and is when you use this component, in this case a layout, let's say, when you use this component, any content that you pass inside the component will be rendered where this slot is placed. So that's why this is a layout. That is already coming with a header. So all pages has the header. All pages has the footer. And then it has a certain head for the meta information of the page and styling and links. And then only on the main content of the page, I want to be rendered whatever the page has.
Cool. So this way we kind of have we kind of have a way of setting or setting a theme or a style for our pages for our site,
Yes,
such that everything can just like kind of consume the basic layout, and we can just make things go inside the inside of that component, and that's going to be rendered here uh, within the main tag.
that's
So
right. Yeah, you could
that's
have
awesome.
multiple layouts if for any reason your website have places where a different layout is needed. But yeah, the idea is to have like a reusable structure or thing for your application or for your website, where yeah, then your pages only specify the content of it,
Mhm.
and the rest is common or consistent across all your application.
Gotcha. So one thing I'm noticing about this, and this may be, um, I don't know, this may be an interesting question, but I don't see any. I see stuff getting passed to this component. I see the inputs to it. I don't necessarily see outputs. So in the case where someone were to submit, let's take a look at your I guess we're already in it, but your site proper. I don't think we have any yet. But if we wanted to add like a comment section or like a like button, how could that work with the sort of the Astro component that we're looking at?
So yeah, with the Astro component itself, I'm not sure because I haven't explored that part. But one of
Okay.
the good things that Astro has is that you can bring your own framework and you can
Mm.
actually use React or use Vue or Solid or any
Yeah, yeah.
framework that a lot of the frameworks that they support several. Um, and you can have components with those frameworks where you have your regular outputs and inputs, um, and they were the same. They were the same. Now, yeah, I really didn't explore that part because yeah, my website doesn't have any interaction. So yeah, I'm not sure about that one.
Yeah, yeah. Well, this was one of the things I was looking at. By the way, I really like Astro's like theming. Like
Yeah, yeah,
this
it's really cool,
is something.
really old
Yeah,
school.
is this like 8-bit design or something like that? Whatever it
Yeah,
is,
yeah,
it's
yeah.
I'm a fan. But yeah, it says so. Bring your own framework. And I was noticing that that Angular was absent from this list, um,
Yeah.
which
Um,
unfortunate. But I imagine it's the
it's
way
more
that
difficult
Angular
with
works makes it
Angular.
hard to
Yeah,
integrate with. But
I know Brandon Roberts. He was playing with it,
okay.
but I don't know if he got to actually do something there. But yeah, maybe we get Angular support at some point soon.
Yeah, well, I imagine you could still do your own thing with it if you use like Angular Universal to do web components, right? Like that could be one way to
Uh,
get.
so Astro has their own like kind of renderers um, system. Let's say these all are
Okay,
renderers, right? React, Preact, all of these. The support for each framework will be a renderer. So
okay,
you can create a renderer for any framework out there. And the renderer, I haven't looked much into it either, but yeah, basically you will need to provide how to hydrate the component on the client side, and
okay.
then how to process it on the server side as well. That's the gist of it. Um, yeah,
Very cool. Okay, so unfortunately, no Angular support, but maybe we'll
yeah,
get it for
yeah.
Brandon sometime. He's good for that stuff. But but yeah, so looking at this, how would this work differently if say we were using React? Are you familiar with how that would look? Would that just be
It will look, yeah, it will look like, for example, you see that at the top, the import for the component footer, head, and header.
mhm,
Those could be React, and nothing changed here. It's exactly the same.
right?
So if
Okay.
you have React components there and you're exporting them, and then you import it here, you
Hmm.
will still consume in the same way.
Okay. And that's for the what we're looking at here is an Astro file, but an Astro file itself could import um, a
Yes,
React file, for example, or a React component.
yes.
Um, does that does that go all the way through? Do you still have to write Astro components for your pages, or Can those be
No,
could those be React as well?
no, the pages they need to like component like the support for frameworks is for creating components.
Mm-hmm.
Like pages itself, they are a kind of component, but they are special in the sense that they are whole render page.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So pages are special. So they still have to be Astro files. Yeah.
Yeah. There could be also Markdown files.
Oh yeah. I think
yeah.
I remember reading that in your blog
Yeah.
here. But okay, that makes sense. Very cool. So so I imagine then, like, kind of breaking down Astro into what it is. Just looking at the pieces I'm aware of, we have sort of the page files that are the contents of that pages directory is going to sort of compose our routing for us. So the
Yes.
files that are inside of that directory are going to determine the routing, and then the sort of what Astro is doing is providing a framework that can infer that routing, that can put all these things together to create to create sort of all the static sites that are needed for your site based off of that. And then you're pretty much, after that, pretty much what your site is just those HTML files hosted to like to just like a server where you're serving them, or where you're hosting the HTML files. Is that so? How does I'm still there's still part of me that's like intrigued by how we could do interactivity with that. So for example, like the like feature that I mentioned, if you wanted to add that to your blog, do you know how that would work?
Yeah, I'm not sure, to be honest. I didn't look much into that because my website is all static, so I only look into the static part. But the thing is, you can always hydrate the components. So let's say you have React components or Solid.js or whatever, and you're using it here, and you can tell them to hydrate on the browser. So they are fully functional now, and they will react to any input or outputs.
Yeah.
And you will need to have certain script that will listen to that and will execute something, right?
Right.
So that's how I think it will work. Because looking at how the technology is, I haven't tried myself, but yeah, it's just the component, the specific portion of the UI needs to be hydrated on the client, so it actually executes the JavaScript of the component. And then if you have a listener like an on-click or whatever, then you will just be calling a function, and that function will need to be something that you will have defined on the page, most likely on a script tag, I guess.
That makes sense. So because let's go to this first. When you mention hydration of like a React component, just to be clear about what that means, does that mean that rather than render that with Astro into an HTML file, instead we'd actually send that component over the wire, so that JavaScript would be there on the browser?
It depends on what directive. They have several directives for hydrating the components.
Okay.
I don't know all of them off the top of my mind, but like client load is one of them. I think they also have like client visible and client idle. And then what that does is you're still sending only HTML, like a server-side render or a static site generation. You're still sending only HTML to the page. But then those directives, there will be a small runtime, I guess, that is actually looking for, if it is visible or whatever. And when it is, it will actually go and request the JavaScript for that particular component and hydrate it.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. So it comes over as HTML first, but then we can come back and hydrate it with JavaScript.
Yes, you can hydrate certain pieces, and they have these. What they are using is or following is this island architecture, where your whole page is actually split into different islands of where you can have functionality. So It's not
Right.
like you need to pay the cost of having the full framework or a lot of JavaScript upfront for everything. You can actually define those islands of interactivity, and those are the only pieces where you actually need to hydrate.
Gotcha. So the islands of interactivity, are those, is the idea that those would be like a component, or are those something else?
Yeah, there will be a components with a directive, that I was mentioning, like something like client load or
Gotcha.
client
Okay.
visible. So yeah, like by default, everything is HTML and CSS, no JavaScript. That's by default. And only you need to opt in into what you want it to be interactive, and your code. Yeah.
Gotcha. So the interactive pieces would be represented by sort of these islands, and just to be clear, like the pieces that we're looking at, this layout component, I don't see, there's no interactivity in this one. So
No.
this would be
Yeah.
part of the non-island part. I don't know what you'd call that. The ocean.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
There you go.
But yeah, definitely. This is, I mean, yeah. By default, everything is just not interactive. It's just HTML. So yeah, this here, there is no directive that I'm using for hydrating anything. So
Gotcha.
everything there is just HTML and CSS.
Gotcha. Well, cool. Well, yeah. Let's go through. I think like I've got a decent grip on what's going on with Astro. Anyone who's listening, if you have any questions for us or for Leo or about Astro or NX as well, reach out and let us know. But yeah, maybe one more thing to dig into, Leo, before I kind of like hand things over to you. So it looks like. So you mentioned it kind of doesn't matter for us, right? What framework these components are almost. Like these could have been React and nothing would have really changed for us.
Yeah.
But I believe this common library that you have here, that is a library of Astro components, correct?
Yeah, that's right. That's a
Okay.
library of Astro components. Yeah, and part of the plugin, when you're generating a library, there is a generator to generate a library. And that generator will actually update the tsconfig.base JSON, which we normally do with all NX plugins, adding those paths. So it can be consumed by Astro, because Astro by default supports that. Astro uses Bit under the hood, and they already support path mappings on TypeScript.
Okay, cool. So, but for anyone who wants to kind of build out their Astro site with NX, they could use your plugin here. To this way, you could generate a library if you had sort of an idea for reusable components. I imagine then the way it would work is your application would need that pages directory, right? Where you have the pages for the app.
Yes.
But then everything else following that, you could just do your typical NX stuff for those components. Whether that's, it looks like you have your common stuff here, so like a bucket for most of your common components. But if you had something where you wanted to split some of these out a little bit more to maybe speed up your build times or your linting or your testing or something like that, you could probably break these up using like normal NX stuff, given that we have that Astro library, correct?
Yeah, in the case of Astro, in for building, you most likely don't gain anything, because for
It
Astro
still has
you
to
don't
do all of
you
its
don't
normal stuff, right?
Yeah, because you don't build libraries. There is no build step for libraries from Astro. Even if you're publishing your own package with Astro components, there are still Astro components. There is no build step for libraries, at least at the moment. So you don't get anything exactly for that. But I'm looking at it more from the code organization perspective. So you could still split your application into multiple things. You could, since you can use React, Solid, Vue, other frameworks, you could still have, I don't know, if this is a monorepo where you have couple of applications which I don't know, they are React, and then you have multiple libraries where you have components, but then you have these maybe documentation website or marketing website or whatever other type of website that you actually are powered by Astro, and you want to use any of the components that is on the React on one of the React libraries, you could still do that as well.
Gotcha.
So that's how I see that is really powerful, that you could still use in a workspace with other projects as well and consume those. Yeah.
Cool. Well, that's awesome, man. Well, yeah, I feel like I have a good grasp on how it all works. Do you all maybe want to take us through your article? Maybe hit on any pieces I may have missed just from talking it over with you.
Yeah. I mean, one other thing that I just remember, also on the applications, at least I didn't review on the last version that came last week, but there was some restrictions regarding layouts as well.
Okay.
So you most likely will have layouts on the application, but I know they were working on that, on removing those restrictions. So maybe layouts also can be stripped and move into libraries, and you only will need to keep the pages on the actual application, like keeping them very thin, very thin layer of the application, and then the libraries with most of the work there.
Gotcha.
But yeah.
Oh, maybe I was misunderstanding something. Is there something special about a layout component? Or
Not exactly, but Astro itself was treating them in a special way. So you couldn't, you're not allowed to freely move them to different places. Now that was, again, I think maybe last version that came last week, maybe that changed, because I think I read something about it. But yeah, I haven't paid much attention to that. But
gotcha.
maybe
Interesting.
it can be moved.
The idea for a layout component, I imagine, looking at this example, which is a layout component, is that it has the whole HTML tag in it with a head specifically. I imagine that's why it would need something.
Yeah, like regular components wouldn't have those tags.
Right.
Pages will have it, but pages, if you use a layout, you will be using the layout that actually has it.
Okay. So really, like, a layout is just really almost like a reusable page component, right?
Yeah, kind of. Yeah,
things.
It's like the skeleton of a page, I guess.
Yeah, that makes sense. So the idea would be like creating this layout component, like we need it for a page, but the idea would be it's almost like a function where you can pass it, the props that you have, and that'll always give you the same stuff. Just maybe the props that you pass in will change some things in the head, it looks like, or something like that.
Yeah.
What about
go ahead.
Yeah, what about this right here? This looks like it may be interesting.
So the Astro global variable, that's a global variable that every Astro file, when they get processed, they have access to that global variable, right?
Okay.
So at build time, every file will have access to this Astro variable, and it has some functions that you can use, and it also has some properties. Like this request one it will be the request, the request object that is where this page is being requested from. So basically here, for example, in the header, I have this thing where I highlight if you are in the blog or if you're not in the blog, and so on. So
that's,
like, for example,
oh shoot, I clicked a thing by accident, but we're actually in it. So this is kind of
but not in a blog post. We are in a blog post. So if you go to the blog, like if you click the blog itself, in the blog list, you see that it gets like a underline. And also if you go to the homepage, then you see that the homepage disappears, like the link to the homepage disappears, and so on.
Yeah.
So that logic is done using the current URL or the request, So I use that request to get the URL where I'm on, and based on that I modify the header. So that's why I pass that to the header. I'm passing the URL to it.
Gotcha. Let me take a look at that code again. Going all the way back and forth. But Okay, yeah. So to the header, we're passing the current path name. So we're going to
Exactly.
do some logic based on that to say what the header actually looks like, whether it has the
Yes.
underline, whether it has this, whether we need
Yeah.
that or not. Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense. Cool. So we always have access to that through this Astro global object. What else? What other kinds of stuff is on the global object? It looks like we have the
Yeah.
request.
Yeah, there is a request. There is also, I'm going to say the ones that I've been using because I don't know everything there. But yeah,
Yeah.
there is a fetch content function, which I use also for fetching the blog posts, which are Markdown files.
Okay.
And yeah, from the top of my mind, those are the two things I know.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, it also have a slots property, so you can actually access the slots that are available there
Okay.
programmatically. And it also has the site property, which that one will be the configuration in the Astro configuration file. You will configure what is the site. For example, for my personal site will be leosbell.dev, and that's what will be the value of that. You can access that from that value.
Okay. Cool. Well, let me ask you about this just because it came up, Leo.
Yeah.
So this is the page we're looking at here. This is like your blog route, I guess. So this would be a blog page, and then as we click into one of these, we're clicking into another page, which is so maybe this is like the blog list. We could think of it. This is the blog list page, and then this would be the blog instance page. The way this is set up, it looks like the same image being used in both places. Do these are both of these pages sourced by the same data, or do you kind of have
So
to manually make that work?
they are sourced by the same data,
Mm-hmm.
but I do have different images for this one that I call the thumbnail, and then the full image for the actual blog post, just
Gotcha.
for performance reasons. But yeah, they are powered by the same data, which
Mm-hmm.
is the Markdown files. So
Okay.
every blog here is a Markdown file with some metadata that I set with the from matter in the from matter script.
Okay. So that's
Um,
like the Markdown file, and kind of like we see in the example we're looking at, we're kind of like putting in what is this? So
yeah,
this is like the
if
server side
you
JavaScript, but you could also
yeah
just put like the title
yeah,
as
if
the
you scroll
property.
down, we can get. I do list somewhere
Oh, cool.
an example of the Markdown of the from matter script of the Markdown, like that
This
one.
looks like it, right?
Yeah. So this one is for this same blog post. This is the sort of information that I put there. I can put anything, right? These are just think about it like variables or properties
Right.
with the values. And yeah, when I'm reading for the blog list page, for example, and for the actual blog post, I'm reading this same Markdown and getting this metadata and using it to show the information.
Gotcha. Cool. So how how would we go through iterating through those? Would that be through that Astro global object we were just talking about
Yeah,
before
there
that?
is an
Okay.
Astro fetch content, which I also have somewhere there are snippet where I'm doing that.
Yeah. Let's see if we can find that.
Yeah, you can search for that.
There you go.
Yeah, right there. So you specify a globe, so where to search for these files, and then that's it. You have the blocks, the actual Markdown file. So fetch content will give you actually several things. Like it will give you an array of objects, and those objects will have you can access all the variables that you define in the from matter script or the properties.
Mm-hmm.
You will actually you will also have like a content component, which capital letter C content, which is actually to render the blog post itself. And I use that somewhere else as well, just to render the blog post. But yeah, basically this astrofetch content will you pass a glob and you get that information back.
Gotcha. Cool. So we pass it the blob. That'll get us all those markdown files.
Yeah, as you can see there, for example, I'm using the date property that I specify on the from matter script.
Yeah.
Because I'm just sorting them, from most recent to older.
Okay. Okay. And the way we had been specifying those. Oh, I lost that other snippet. Let's go down.
It's probably yeah. No, go up now. I think. Yeah, scroll up.
Is it above here?
Yeah,
I thought I looked up and couldn't find it. Oh, there it is. Okay.
This
one.
Gotcha. So you'll see there is a day property there.
Yeah. So what's the type that comes back when you call the fetch content?
It's a string. Yeah.
String.
Oh, you mean the whole for the object?
Yeah. Because so you were able to sort them based off their date property. So it's almost like an object. It must be an object that has the things.
Yeah, it's an object that inside. Yeah, the object inside will have all these properties. It will also have other properties as well, which I don't remember all of them. But the other important one that I'm using is it will give you a content.
That's the
property.
Okay, so that's what
which is the actual component.
Is.
Yes.
Okay. Oh, so that's not the string of the text that would come after this.
No, it's
that's
an actual component that will render.
Oh, okay.
It's an actual component that will render. So somewhere there as well, I have that content where in the blog post page or the blog post.astro, if you search for that, you will see a snippet for that.
Blog post.astro. Okay.
Yeah, this one here. I have, or it's not here, main blog content, slot, or it's not there. Let me see. I don't remember where it is now.
It's okay.
Oh no, yeah, because I have yeah, it should be there, or it's in the page then. Yeah, it's actually in the page. It's in the you can put a bracket slug and close the bracket. Square brackets. No, sorry, square brackets, and then slug. SLUG. Yeah.
Slug. Got it. Okay.
This one. So you will see here that so here there is something interesting as well, which is the get static path. Which is, this is a dynamic route
where is that? Am I missing it? The get static path?
Yeah, it's a function, a spar function get static path in the snippets. So it's the 5th line or 6th line. Yeah, there is no number there, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that one.
Path.
Yeah,
I see.
Because this page is a dynamic route, right?
Mm-hmm.
It will actually substitute the slug with all the blog posts that we have. So that's why first I'm getting all the blog posts, then I'm returning from this function, the get static path, and returning all the available blog posts with passing or specifying the pattern as what I want it to be the URL for that blog post.
Gotcha.
Which in this case will be the path name and just removing the extension and just staying with it.
Yeah, that looks like a lot of array stuff. I'm trying to work out how that works exactly, but I think I get it. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think I refactored that already. I just didn't when I created the blog post, but yeah. But it's basically I'm getting the actual file name, and that's what I'm using as the URL there.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then as a prop, you are seeing there, I'm passing a post. So that's why below, outside the get static path function, and still in the from matter script, I can access the Astro props with all the props that are inside the post.
Okay. Gotcha. Okay, so there's the content.
Yes.
That's actually, so this is actually a component that we use in right here.
Is a component, yeah.
Right. And then all these things here, these are just taken from the front matter. I forget what you call it. Is that like the metadata?
It's like in the Markdown file, that's my metadata for the blog post itself. So I use that in a couple of pages.
Cool. And so, okay, so that makes sense. So the way this works now, because we're back to using that layout component. So this is actually a page here, but this is not just a page. This is specifying all the pages for all your blog posts, as we can see from this directory. Okay, that's cool.
The get static path will return you an array. And those will constitute the pages that you have available for this particular route, because this route is dynamic.
Yeah. So this must be, there's something magic about the name of this function for Astro?
Yeah, it has to be that function. So I think this is pretty similar to something that is in Next.js as well. I'm not sure it's the same name, but it's something very similar. That yeah, they will execute this. They will get the array, and using that array, they will replace based on the the name that you gave to the actual file, which is square brackets slug dot astro. You need to have a property called slug or a pattern called slug that you are returning. So that's the way they match it to actually generate those pages.
Okay, that makes sense. So slug here is also somewhat magic as well, because we need that for like just looking at your page here. The slug
exactly.
I'm sorry, that's tiny. I don't know how to change that. But if you can't see, I'm highlighting the URL here just on Leo's actual blog where we can see where the slug is taking place. So cool. That's cool. Okay, I feel like I have a good concept of everything Astro is, and I think I have a good concept of how I could go about making this work. So if I wanted to do my own, one of the harder things I think about doing the blog site is like the formatting of the blog, and I think you did like a really good job here, Leo. But like for me, I often just want to go to dev.to because like the editing experience is kind of nice. I don't want to if I did mine in Markdown, I feel like it would all look terrible if I was styling it. But
I mean, no, that's for sure. Like there is no built-in GUID editor or something like that for the blog post here, right? So I definitely I have to write the blog post with Markdown, but I don't with what I have right now. I don't have anything special there, so it's pretty, I would say, standard Markdown what I'm using there, with a couple of things that I did augmented for having like I don't know, for showing the links, external links with an icon at the end, and adding certain properties to the link, so they opening to external links, so they opening a new tab, and for security, adding the no follow property. So it's pretty simple because Astro has Markdown built-in support, and you can quite easily specify rehype or remark plugins to actually augment the Markdown processing functionality.
Interesting.
Which is really cool. It's really cool. Down there in the blog post in some place, I put an example of the configuration that I added for the Markdown plugins, which it wasn't hard. It's just getting to know these plugins, right? So it's here. Yeah.
Okay.
So it was all configuration. And I basically wanted to, like I said, have like for better accessibility, have like an icon to mark, oh, this is an external page that you will be linking and going to. So this particular one that you're looking is actually for adding links to the headings of each section. So if you hover a section, you will see that an icon appears. I think I put it to the left.
Is there a link in here? Okay.
Yeah. If you hover any section, if you hover the section name, like
I see.
That one.
Okay.
So that was done with that first one that I'm doing there.
Okay.
And it will. Yeah.
I see. Okay, that's cool.
Yeah.
So that's a way to give the specific anchor to the section if someone wants to link it. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. And then this other one, the rehype external links, that's the one for external links, where I'm actually putting an icon at the end.
So that's this icon right here.
Exactly.
To specify, hey, this is going to open up in another site. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
Cool. Very cool. Okay, so the way that works, you actually aren't you're able to write your Markdown files as you normally would, but because you have because you have these renderer properties in here, or the rehype plugins, I guess this is what's this is what's able to kind of go back after you've done your Markdown files and
Yeah,
sort of like decorate them a little
yeah,
bit.
because Astro uses that that's a render that they specify there, which you can actually also provide your own renderer if you want to. But they specify that Astro.js Markdown remark. That's the renderer, and then you can pass to it rehype plugins or remark plugins, and
Okay.
there is a lot of plugins for those.
Yeah.
I actually didn't know any of these before creating this website. I went and searched for them and did some research to actually come up with these ones. But yeah, there are a lot of them that you can just put here in the configuration, and they will get added to the pipeline when they are processing the Markdown files, and they will get processed.
That's really cool. So one of the things I really like about Dev.2's experience, just with their editor, I think they call them liquid tags. So this is something where like I believe like one example is they have like a Stack Blitz sort of plugin where you can just kind of put into your Markdown, hey, this is like a Stack Blitz section, so you can drop in something like that to embed, and like just here's the ID, like that's all you got to do to like embed a Stack Blitz inside of your blog post is open up the tag. I forget what it looks like at the moment, but doing that, and then you add the ID, and that'll kind of like put that snippet there into the middle of your blog. Is that the kind of thing you could do here as well, or is that a little more advanced? Would that be its
Yeah,
own
I mean,
driver?
I haven't researched it, but
Okay.
definitely it looks like if you come up with a syntax that the rehype plugin can actually understand and identify.
Yeah.
Okay, here is where I need to insert something. You could create your own plugin to replace that and insert whatever you want to insert there.
Yeah. Yeah.
So it's
Well,
definitely possible. Yeah.
yeah, and well, the other thing that would come to mind is a way you could do this. So you could do your pages in Markdown, or you could do them in like an Astro component too. And the
So
Astro component seems like it would be pretty easy to make your own, like for my example, a Stack Blitz component. Just
yeah,
pass
but
in the
that's
ID.
one thing as well. In Markdown, you can use components as well.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So
So
we could.
if you're
I don't even need to go to an Astro file. I could just use a Markdown file,
exactly,
but throw
so
in
your Markdown
my
file.
Astro component. Cool.
Yeah. So in the from matter script, you could have a special setup property, and in that setup property, you can actually import components, and then you can render them in the Markdown as well.
Yeah. That's awesome. I think
Yeah.
this is filling out a lot of questions of like how could I implement this stuff, like with my
Yeah.
own personal site, Leo. I don't even bother trying to show the contents of a blog. I just kind of link to where it lives on Dev.2 or on Medium or whatever. But yeah,
I mean, I wanted to play with this. I used it
Yeah.
as a playground for some things. I want to
Yeah.
do more stuff as well, but yeah, I just haven't had the time.
Yeah, I think there's definitely something to be said for actually owning and actually hosting your own content instead of just linking to where it happens to live on other people's platforms. But let's jump into the comments. I see there's maybe a couple things, and these were earlier in the conversation, but I think we could still hit them. Ben mentions it would be great to have the Astro router giving you the URL by segments, like an array of segments. And then asked, can you add the slug property to your Astro file in the header? Does it conflict with the way Astro is looking at the file's header? Yeah, so how does that work? That's a good question too. So if you wanted to like nest a route so that you have two separate pages, but one appears to be like a sub route of another, do you have to kind of use the slug? Okay, how would you do that?
So you could have multiple segments that are dynamic, but then your get static path function will need to return all the possible combinations for them as well. So it's all again these are like placeholders that you need to replace and will confirm your URL, and you need to replace an array. So the important bit is the get static path will need to return an array of all the possible routes that you have.
Okay.
And if your route is composed by two params that are dynamic, you need to return those two params in those properties.
Gotcha. So this is almost like, so you see what I got on screen here. It's a little cluttered.
Yeah.
So this is like their official docs on this. So this it's returning an array of. Okay, of the params and then the props.
Yeah, you don't get much info in here, to be honest. But
Okay.
I mean, I learned. Yeah, you will see here an example of the params, but still that might not. Well, it tells you a little bit, but it doesn't. If you have, I don't know if actually maybe here there was an example of multiple segments. No, there wasn't. I think I saw it somewhere else. But yeah, definitely you can have multiple segments, and the only important part, and that's why you see params is a plural, and it's an object, so you can have multiple params that are dynamic. You just need to return all the possible combinations for them, like all the pages that you will have with those params. Um,
Gotcha. Okay. Um, cool. Well, pop into let's hit Yuri's question too before we have to wrap up. Could you use something like Notion as the source instead of Markdown files? Oh, interesting. Like pulling in from the Notion API. So I just recently started messing around with Notion as a way of like taking notes. But usually I like doing like handwritten notes, but starting to mess around with Notion as a way. And it looks like so there's the Notion API gives you a way of doing like a network request to get the contents of like one
okay.
of your notes. Could you is it possible to kind of do that inside of that the server side part of our JavaScript code where we can go make a network request and
Yeah,
populate
yeah.
stuff that way?
I will only ask. Yeah, definitely. You can. I mean, again, this from Matter script is JavaScript and TypeScript, right? So
Mm-hmm.
you can use fetch or to hit an API if that's how it's done with Notion, or
Mm-hmm.
if it is an SDK, you can also use it there. Um, my question will be like, how what is the format that returns for Notion? If it's just a string or HTML or I don't know. So
I'm
depending on
not
what it is,
familiar with the
yeah.
API. I've just started
But
messing with it, but I assume if it gives it to you in some format, you could probably take whatever that format is and map it to what you need for
yeah,
your stuff in
exactly.
Astro. Yeah.
Like you wouldn't get the I guess you wouldn't get the from matter part. Sorry, the Markdown parsing, because it's not a Markdown file. You're just providing a string,
Mm-hmm.
but you can definitely use that content and just render it in your HTML. So
Yeah.
they have this directive or attribute, right, that is called set colon HTML, where you can
Mm-hmm.
actually set HTML to a content of a div or any element.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Very cool, man. Okay, so that I think that like fills out most of the most of the questions for me of how that would work. And yeah, yours says it would return Markdown as far
Oh,
as he's aware.
nice.
So
Yeah,
cool.
and I think you could actually get it to work with the Markdown somehow, but I'm not sure about that. I will need to play more with it. They
Yeah.
definitely have things to work with it, but programmatically, I don't know if you can do it, but there might be a way. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it seems like just because you have like the JavaScript part available to you, like right here.
Yes.
So this is the way my mental model is going. Like, it's like okay, here's some when you come to render this page, here's some JavaScript to run during that build step that's going to like get you
Exactly.
the information. This is like a little script, like a pre-processing to the script, so we can gather our information, then we can render it. The rendering process just outputs HTML files. Those HTML
Yes.
files just go on the server, and then we just kind of like
Yeah. Yeah. That's
we're
right.
kind of done. So
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, it's cool to know that you can just use like fetch to do whatever you need in terms of CMS to kind of get that going, whether it's Notion or
Yeah.
using
Yeah.
Firebase or using Contentful or something like that. That's pretty
Yeah,
cool.
the only thing is that to keep in mind is that these always were build time, right? So
Yeah,
that gets processed at build time. If you need anything that is client side, then you wouldn't do it in this from Matter script.
yeah,
You would
yeah,
actually do it inside a script tag in your HTML.
yeah. So if I let's say I was using like Notion as my database, if I wanted to do say I wanted to, I just added a new page to my Notion database. Um, is there any stuff native to Astro? I mean, I can think of other ways how to do this, but Just wondering if there's anything that's native to Astro that could like trigger a rebuild because we noticed, hey, more content was added to the CMS, or if there's
Well, like
I,
I guess it's not particular to Astro in this sense. Like
yeah,
I guess you could have like a pipeline, whatever you're using, that could be
yeah,
reacting to that, like setting a webhook or something.
yeah, a webhook
Um,
that lets you know, hey, new page got added, go ahead
yeah,
and
yeah,
rebuild. Yeah, that makes
yeah.
sense.
But yeah, I don't think it's particular to Astro again. I think it's at
That's a whole CMS problem across all the
yeah,
servers. So
exactly.
yeah,
Yeah, in the sense of you will need to react to that somehow, potentially using a webhook, and then kick the pipeline to start.
yeah. Hey, one last question before we wrap up. Another one from Ben.
Yeah.
So compared to like Jekyll or other static Markdown websites, how did you find the overall experience? I don't know which.
Yeah, I mean, I gotta say, I never look into Jekyll or any other of those. So this was
Jekyll
my
seems very
actual.
similar to this, but
Okay,
there I remember I've worked on it with a couple of smaller projects, but it's like there's a certain amount of pain, but it does seem very reminiscent
okay,
of this. So
okay.
for
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't give you a good answer, Ben, but because I never tried any of those. This is my first time using static site generator like this.
yeah.
I did find it good. Like I pretty much did everything I wanted to do. I didn't explore certain things, and it's a rather simple website for
Yeah.
sure. But I mean, considering that is still not a stable version. Like Astro is not stable, and when I did this was in 0.21 the version. Now it's in 0.24. It works pretty well. It works pretty well, and the features that I have built in did the job for what I needed, right?
Mhm. Yeah, I think like the main value I see out of this is what I have on screen here. It's just like the lighthouse scores kind of speak for themselves in terms of, what we're trying to get. I don't know if you can do much better than that, right? But
Yeah, there is another cool thing that I use here, which is called Party Town, which is from
okay.
Builder.io, and that's a small library that what it does, but it does a good thing, a really good innovative thing, which is it takes you can use it for normally you have in all your pages or on your website like this. One of the problems is your third party scripts like analytics and things like that. They will always slow down your page, your loading and everything, right? And it will
Right.
affect the lighthouse scoring. I do have analytics here, and that lighthouse score is with analytics in there,
Yeah. Okay.
with Cloudflare analytics.
Okay.
The thing is, Paritown actually will seamlessly, without you having to do much, it will actually get those scripts. It will execute the code that is in those scripts using a service worker. So it takes them out of the main thread, so it doesn't affect your lighthouse score, or it actually doesn't affect your main thread performance, and it automatically handles any operation that needs to go to the main thread, like because the script might be doing some DOM operations and things like that. And I think I lost Zach.
Sorry,
Yeah,
I don't know what my computer just did. Let me see if I can get myself back up. Of course, this would
that's
happen at
okay.
the end. Uh, let's see. Is that picking up my other cam? I'll just turn my camera off. Let's see. There we go. Oh, I'm Yuri now.
Oh, and you're Yuri.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Sorry, yeah, I missed what you said there for a bit. I think one of my connections got crossed with one of my hubs. But sorry. So what were you saying, Leo?
Yeah, no. Yeah, I was saying that, yeah, with Python, what you can do is you execute it will actually execute the third party scripts or analytics script that you have. It will execute them on a service worker. So it's actually not running on the main thread, which makes your application to be more performant there. It doesn't affect your rendering of the page or anything. And then they automatically also look for certain operations that can run on the worker. They will actually go and run it on the main thread, and they do all that scheduling of tasks running, like certain pieces running on the main thread and the rest running on the worker. which is pretty cool. And it's just, again, it's just you add the library, you change the type of your script to be, I think, text Python, but it can be anything. So, well, no, it can't be anything. It has to be something that Python will scan for it.
Okay.
But yeah, but the thing is, since it's not, a script type, your browser will actually won't execute it, which is one of the key parts of this. Then Python will just identify all of them and will handle them.
Yeah, that's very cool. Is that specific to Astro, or is that's
no, it's
yeah.
You can use it in any website.
Yeah. That's what it seems like. So yeah, cool. It's interesting to see like the lighthouse scores kind of driving those kinds of innovations. I feel like, because it's like a driving force for this stuff. To how can we get to better performance while still getting our analytics right.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. I mean, the folks have built their IO. They are working on interesting stuff like Quick and this Party Town now. And I think they recently also mentioned that they have a sort of lighthouse, but not lighthouse, but a sort of performance. I don't know if service of dashboard, which gives you a little bit more information, actionable items to do stuff to improve your performance.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool. Pretty cool.
Very cool. All right, Leo, we better wrap this up because we're already 6 minutes over. But
yeah.
Hey, appreciate you coming on, sharing us all about Astro, sharing us your blog and the stuff you learned. Sounds like a pretty cool tool. It seems like for the most part the dev experience is rather good, and like we were just looking, you can't argue with those lighthouse results. So sweet, man. Thanks for sharing that and sharing how it works with NX, and thanks everyone for joining. Hope this was insightful for y'all, and yeah, you get any questions, reach out on Twitter or something like that, or in our community channel, or in our community Slack, and we'll get back to you. But yeah, thanks everyone for joining, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye now.
Bye.